Hello, welcome to another episode of the EJB Talk Show. Today I have a very special guest with me today, violinist and most overall composer, but also multi-instrumentalist actually, Anthony Gunadi.
Yeah.
Okay, I said that right. How are you doing today, man?
Good. Yeah, it's a long day.
What did you get up to?
So in the morning, have history, lives, music, like the courses.
Right.
And then we did our quartet recording.
How did that go?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
You ever want to expand on that?
So the quartet players are Vincent, Sachi, Thais, and Marin. I got a little shout out on Marin's episode.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And bass drummer Thomas, yeah. Like in the actual concert, it would be off stage, but it's a recording. So.
Right. This is for the student composer concert happening in March, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
How are you feeling for that? It's already going well, essentially.
Yeah.
That's sick though. So you're currently a first year here. You're in common year, but how have you enjoyed your time at U of T so far?
I really liked it. Like the people here are like much more like eager to do like stuff, like play for my stuff that I thought like would happen. Like
what were your expectations about regarding that going in here? What do you say?
I didn't really have any expectations, but I thought I'd have to be like very strategic about it.
I gotta make sure I'm in with this person so they can play for my piece, essentially, right?
Yeah, but then I don't know, everyone's like chill here. It's like, yeah, I'll play for your piece. Like when I went to Phoebe for I asked her to play my piano piece in the January concert. Like I just saw her in the dining hall. I was like, yo, you wanna play my piano piece? Yeah. Like no hesitation.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can start kind of working backwards from here, but what would you say would be your earliest musical memory?
It's actually like a pretty late moment. So like
Okay.
I started playing piano like when I was like 4, and like guitar when I was like 8, and like violin when I was 10. But like I didn't really care that much about music. And okay, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but you know the game Geometry Dash?
Yeah.
So for all my life, I listened to music on the radio speakers, the iPad speakers, or like phone speakers or whatever.
Right.
And then one day I was like playing Geometry Dash, like a custom level on the full version, and like was like, oh, there's like some headphones. I want like, where's some headphones? Like I listened to music with headphones for the first time ever.
And it was with
like,
Geometry Dash.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is how electronic music sounds like.
Really?
Yeah, because like, yeah, I never really like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna like dedicate my life to music. Like at that point, like I was just like, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
But this is like what?
That was like the first thing that like stuck out to me.
Were you like probably like 12 or something when this happened? Like
Yeah.
So it was after you were already studying like piano, guitar, and violin.
Yeah, like I already played all those 3 instruments. I started learning theory.
What was it like starting those instruments though? Like, were you just like forced into playing them essentially, or was it in your interest to start them? What would you say?
Yeah, piano, I was forced like everyone else.
Yeah.
And guitar, my dad got me a guitar when I was like 5, so like it's like, oh, okay, let's have like some lessons for it.
Okay.
So I started playing classical guitar, and then my sister started playing violin. So like, oh, I want to like try that too.
Okay.
But I didn't really like music that much. It was just like a side thing.
It was like a thing to do, like not really like
an extracurricular.
Right.
Yeah.
So from there, like listening to Geometry Dash, but also like did like an interest in music grow from there? You'd say?
Not really. But it was my first time that like I thought of music in a different way.
Would you say it took a bit from there even?
So how I actually started composing is like, this is like how I started to like music. Like I started composing, so it's like I wanted to make music for my own levels in Geometry Dash because I saw other people do that. So like, oh, I want to make music for my own levels. So then I'm like, okay, I started learning music, like producing music on like Ableton.
How old were you, would you say, when this was happening?
I was like 12.
Holy,
yeah.
What the hell?
So I started like, it was a tough journey, but I got there. And like, so like at first like it was like really rough. It's like, oh, if I keep doing this, like eventually, so you actually need to get whitelisted for your music to be in the game.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay, if I like get better, then like I'll get my music in the game and I can make my own levels.
Right.
But then eventually, like I liked music more than playing Geometry Dash.
It just kind of grew into its own thing.
Yeah, it started from there. Like it started from me wanting to make music for Geometry Dash and like yeah, that's so weird to say. Then like yeah, I just kept going at it and I just like liked it more than anything else.
Were you still studying like piano, guitar, and violin like through that like?
For a little while, like when COVID started, I stopped piano and guitar. I actually kind of stopped everything. Yeah, I did. I stopped everything.
So
but then
so just for those many years, you were just studying those 3 instruments.
Yeah, and
that's
then
crazy.
I picked violin back up for auditioning. That's the only reason why. Yeah.
This is like coming out of that chronological sense, but like, how come you decided to choose violin for auditioning here?
Because. Okay, first of all, like piano players are too cracked, so the piano was already out. Guitar, like I think I was better at guitar and violin, but violin you can play in like orchestras and it's like
right.
I don't know, just like
that experience is awesome.
It's just like a more I don't know, you get to fit better in music school. Like, I don't know, like like have you heard of any guitar players? Like
I do know of some, like definitely because I've gone last semester. There's a really good last year there's a really good flute guitar concert at Walter Hall, and it was like probably one of the best concerts of that whole year I've gone to. But no, I know what you mean. Like there's a huge sense of community in
I feel like there
being
were
an
more
orchestra
like opportunities as like a violin player.
And especially like more, you get to know more people too, like that is actually that's interesting of you.
Like if it wasn't for UTSO, like I wouldn't have like asked Marin to play for my. So what happened is like I went through all the first year cellists and they
all
weren't available to play for. So then like I was like I need to find a cellist. So like I went around like every single UTSO cellist, and like Marin just so happened to be one of them. Like, oh, do you want to play my composition? Like, oh yeah, sure. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of things wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for UTSO.
Right.
Yeah.
So from high school, you know, like, would you say you kept up your composing from there, like, because that was like middle school era, you like composing for Geometry Dash, but like, how could you say that, like, your state? How would you describe yourself and music in high school? What would you say?
I didn't really like compose. Like I actually just like put notes in the MIDI roll.
Right.
Like I
and
produced
things
music. I guess. I didn't really like formally notate or compose yet at that point.
Right.
Yeah, and it was until like I started looking into like film music.
Okay.
And then like classical music eventually, and then like I started notating, and then they also want us to submit like scores for U of T.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think like I did notate sometimes for like theory homework, like back then, but I didn't like actually notate a lot of pieces until grade 12.
Well, like that was the thing you were doing most, you'd say, in high school.
Yeah, like I worked with like synths and like orchestral like plugins.
Really?
Yeah, I used like MIDI rolls, and it's actually like looking back, like that's actually like so hard to compose because you can't see the notes. Like,
right.
You see, like, dots.
No. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But like, what kind of struck your interest so relatively late in classical music, you'd say? Because, you know, you've been studying classically on 3 instruments, but only kind of now you're interested in composing classically. Like, where did that come from, you'd say?
Well, I guess like I wanted to make music for film and games. And yeah, but now like,
is that still the goal or not?
It's one of the possible goals.
Right.
But now like I really enjoy classical music, and if I was like a classical composer, I don't know, like composing for like TSO or something, that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Right, just like having the pieces as is, not accompanying like a film or game, you say. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of open to it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. So from there, like, this is kind of peeking into me reading your bio and your website. You play in like a jazz ensemble now?
Yeah, I play in the Topical Jazz Band.
The EJB.
Yeah, it's called the EJB. Yeah.
But
when I got here, at first like I was like, EJB, that's the Topical Jazz Band. It's like, oh, it's the Edward Johnson building.
Right. So how did that start for you?
So back in like spring of grade 12, like so I had a couple of classmates who were already in it. It's like, oh, I want to like learn like big band like jazz music, like how it's like, because I feel like you can like listen to it. You can listen to a bunch of like other stuff, but you don't have a feel for it. You know, like I don't know, like for orchestra, like if you did you have a more like better understanding of what it was when you like actually play like the thing?
Like in an orchestra? You
Yeah.
mean? Rather than like listening?
Yeah, I feel like that's the same for me like for violin.
Yeah.
Like I actually like I know like how to write for it better when if I
Right.
play in the actual thing.
Right.
So same thing for like jazz. Like I wanted to understand it better by actually like being involved in it. Yeah.
So how, like, are you still playing with them right now?
Yeah, I
Like,
still
how has
am.
that been? Like,
Yeah, it's
like schedule-wise too.
So yeah, it's like every Wednesday night,
Okay.
and right now I'm so.
Oh, you're getting a call.
Oh, I am.
Here.
Oh, my mom's calling me.
Oh yeah, let it. We'll do a pause here. All right, we're back from that call. That's all
Yeah,
good.
my
There.
bad.
No, but yeah, you picked up from playing with the EJB, the Etobicoke
Yeah.
Jazz Ensemble on Wednesday nights. Like, how would you say that like is with like balancing your schedule, like since being in university? You know, it's a completely
Yeah.
different ball game.
It's So Wednesdays are like completely like full for me. So actually like
Cause you have UTSO.
yeah. So
God.
for like whatever's due on Thursday, I have to do it on Tuesday unless
Yeah.
I wanna like pull an all nighter or something,
Oh, man.
which I don't want to. So yeah.
Would you say you had a lot of like music opportunities through school or just in general in high school, or like it was just you chilling in your room making stuff?
Like my experiences or as in me learning or
Not learning, just like like performing experiences, or even like taking composition lessons. Like
I've never taken a single composition
right.
lesson in my life.
But how
yeah.
about performing? Because you seem to do a lot of performing since you're here. Like I'm not like you're like a performance major or anything like that, because that's not what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean that's
but,
just like UTSO. Right?
You're right.
Yeah.
But did you perform much in like high school? Doing like on any instrument, not even just like violin. Like,
Yeah, I played trombone in high school.
Right.
So-
So that's how you got into that jazz thing.
Yeah, so just like spring concert, winter, Christmas concert.
Like through concert band at school.
Yeah.
I see.
But it's not like I'm like a soloist or something. I'm just there.
No.
I'm just sitting there.
So would you say like that kind of musical identity of yours was kind of like self kind of directed and made like created by
Yeah.
yourself, just messing around in Ableton? That's,
Yeah.
And like that's actually pretty cool though. Like that's because not everyone can really say that, you know. That
Yeah, I
like
kind of just like learned from like YouTube, and then eventually like when I went to classical music, I just like listened to other scores, listen to orchestra.
right.
Yeah, I actually like learned a lot about like. I mean, I think I learned a lot, like just intuitively, like from being in orchestra, like listening to the other parts, like how to orchestrate better.
Right.
I hope. I don't know.
But when was the point when you were like, I'm gonna go to like university for music? Like, what sparked that decision for you?
Yeah, I just wanted to learn more about how to compose music for like to be better for like games and films. I
So you
guess.
want that to be like the end goal career for you? you're
Before,
saying?
but maybe not anymore. Just like
But like
one
composer end goal
Yeah.
career for you. Were any other like other interests or even just like practicalities like did they potentially stop you from coming to university for music, or was it just like an automatic decision? Like you had no other options in your head, you'd say?
So
What would you say?
Before I wanted to be a composer, like this is like back then, I actually like wanted to be like some kind of like inventor, like innovating. I
Really?
guess now that like like my interest shift to music, I guess I'm now innovating like
No,
music or
that's true.
something.
I think it comes from a pretty like subconscious place, that kind of motivation.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be surprised.
So
you know?
like I did like do all the sciences stuff and like math stuff. So I applied for chemistry.
Okay.
That's what interested me the most. But like in grade 12, I ended up disliking math and science, but not because I didn't like math and science, because I liked music more.
Right.
It's like studying for calculus took time away from me composing. That's why I hated calculus, not because I hated calculus.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, you know, doing math, because I did a lot of math in high school too. It's kind of like practicing an instrument. You have to spend that much time to like understand, like really get the concept. So like, I get what you mean by that, because just like it's a completely different side
like
of
for
your,
me, like
of your time.
Anything in school that like took time away from me learning music and composing, like it's not that I didn't like it. It's just like, oh man, like I could have used this 1 hour to like compose or something, right?
Right.
Yeah, so like that's why like when I got here, like it's like just so good. It's like so much composing, so much music.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd say like to answer your question, like I wanted to go to music, but then I guess like as a backup, which I did. Not really a backup, just like a filler, I guess.
Right.
Like just put sciences. Yeah.
Yeah, just to fill out those, because I think there's like a minimum you have to. I don't remember what it's like applying for university. Yeah. But yeah, since you've been here, actually, I wanna I don't wanna throw you under the bus like this or anything, but I'm actually very curious, because you are this whole year we've been in the same theory.
Yeah.
And you're in the second year theory classes, and how did you did you have a lot of theory background? I know you said you studied theory, but how not for lack of a better word, intense or rich was your theory studying going into university, you'd say?
So actually didn't start learning theory until when I was 12 years old. I was I started all 3 instruments before I started any kind of theory.
I think that's pretty typical sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because I play drums and I teach drums sometimes, and these kids don't know anything about theory.
Yeah, but some people they learn theory with their practical thing, which I didn't do. I learned theory really late, but my theory teacher was super good, the best theory teacher.
So you got a separate teacher for theory?
Yeah.
Wow.
She was really good, and she gave
Was this through RCM?
No, it was a separate. Well, we learned RCM stuff, but yeah, it's not at RCM.
Right.
And she gave little insights outside of RCM stuff.
Right. Would you say that background? Well, that background really helped you with your time composing in high school.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Back then, so I actually started doing Ableton stuff before I learned theory also.
Right.
So I didn't know any chords. What's a chord?
You were just thinking what sounds kind of cool. Right?
Yeah, but my kind of cool was so limited because I wasn't introduced to things that I could have done. Before, I didn't know how to make a chord progression, so I just did this. This was my go-to thing. The bass line goes do, te, le, te.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was everything was 1, flat 7, flat 6,
and
flat
back
7.
to flat
that
7.
was me for 1 year. I did not know what else to do.
Just cause
because I didn't know any theory.
Right.
So, yeah, but then when I started learning theory, it's wow, there's so much more you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Since you've been in UFT, you're taking the composition classes. You've had your pieces in student composer concerts. Would you say that your activity of composing has kind of turned into work in a sense? No. Really?
I feel
that's good though.
I can't compose enough. I feel there's not enough physical time and energy to write down everything that I have in my head.
Really?
I feel it's
it's not
compose a relief because
it's not a drag for you. It hasn't become.
It's a drag to not compose. If I don't compose,
that's a great drive actually.
Yeah. So it's there's so many things that I have thought of in my head, and they kind of clash. It's to get out there. It's if I just keep it in there, it's
you need to get it down somewhere at right now. Would you say that you're kind of the same Anthony that you were when you were just chilling in high school doing this the same thing, but you kind of just know more? What would you say? The difference between you composing back in high school and then you composing now? What do you think? Or would you say that there's a difference, or it's pretty the same?
As in my drive
Drive, yeah,
Like, I
mostly
feel like,
drive. Because you definitely know more as you get older, right? But like,
yeah, I feel like I love composing more than I did before.
wow,
Cause like yeah, like there's so much like beautiful like classical pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and like I just like didn't know about that stuff. Like my view on music had just become more broader and broader. Like
Right.
the more like I compose.
right.
Yeah.
And would you say you already knew a lot back then?
No.
No.
Like,
So yeah,
how much back then? How much?
like high school,
High school?
decent amount, but
Of theory?
anything, just like music.
I knew like a good amount, but it didn't matter. Like for me, like as long as I could keep making music, like it doesn't matter like what the output is. It's like
Right.
yeah, like
because
it's
I
what
asked.
love. Yeah.
Right, because I asked that because it's very interesting. Because generally, people come into school or to school with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience behind them, right? And then they get here, and then by like the first half a year, they're already super burnt out because it's like more of the same stuff that they already know. But like, do you feel like since you've been here, it's just been a very like fruitful learning experience, like all the time in that sense?
Like I feel like Theory 3, like last semester, like that was a huge breakthrough for me.
Really?
Yeah. Like because before, like this kind of like
Like
natural-
understanding form, you'd say, like
yeah, understand like because this kind of natural for like everyone to do when they start composing, I guess, but like usually people like improvise like what they play something on the piano or something, and then they write it down, then they play the piano again and they write it down,
right.
instead of having like thought out the entire thing. But ever since Theory 3, like I started planning out my pieces like beginning to end. Like I would even plan out the form now before I even plan out like harmony. There's like I would actually do like, okay, this is like an important like one of my pieces I actually planned out the exact measure numbers. Like
Really?
so I actually,
of how long like each phrase will be and stuff.
no, like it's like, oh, I know this section will be in bar 182, and then like the whole piece will be like bar like 293 bars.
That's interesting.
And like, yeah, and like before I wouldn't like ever think of doing that. Like I would play something, write it down, and it's like, and like if you do that, like you can't really have like a long piece, you know, like things that connect to each other like better or something.
Right.
Before, like I would just like, oh, I need to make a reference to what happened in the beginning, so I just like put it in this. Yeah.
Would you say that where you stand right now, there's still a lot like more for you to learn and stuff, and like,
yeah, so much. Yeah.
that's good. I think it's always good to have that mindset, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Did I want to ask you anything else? What would you say about the people here you've met besides like the eagerness, like, you know, just like going to school with a bunch of people who are interested in music? What else could you say that you feel about that since coming here?
Yeah, like everyone's so how do I say it, like collaborative, like,
Right.
everyone wants to like work together and help each other out. Like I thought there would be like any like bad competition, like, you know, like like toxic competition or anything, but like everyone's like, yeah, helping each other out, do their projects, and yeah.
Would you say that, or not would you say, but did you come from a school or kind of community where like a lot of people were musicians, or like not really? Were you kind of like an odd one out?
It felt like I was the only one. Like
Right.
yeah, I was just like doing my theory homework during lunch, and like I wanted like,
And no one kind of understood.
like no one like composes. I mean, like people would maybe like do some short improvs, like miniatures,
and like playing
for
band,
fun. Like,
playing
yeah,
band.
yeah, but
you
like
know?
no one really, I guess, like liked music. Like they just
Right.
like yeah, it was just like a thing that they maybe do for like 1 or 2 hours, and like that's it, right? But like I wanted to do it like all day.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that was a bit of like a culture shock since coming here, that like that you, or did you prepare yourself already for like everyone here is gonna be more or less into music? Like
I don't know. I kind of like, yeah, it was like a culture shock, but in like a good way, like a very good way.
Oh,
Yeah.
were you mostly just thinking about yourself, not really thinking about like not worried about how other people feel about music, kind of thing, or like what would you say? like that. That was poorly phrased. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, I understand.
What would I want to say with that? Like, I think I'll use myself as an example there.
Okay.
Like, well, because I'm a performance major, so I'm like super worried that like, or I wasn't even a performance major last year actually, but I was super worried about like how everyone else has so much like kind of knowledge about music, and I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, I'm gonna be somewhere, because I didn't come from somewhere where everyone, like, no one really liked music either, but I'm here in a place where everyone does, and it kind of intimidated me, right? Would you say you kind of had like that kind of sense too, or were you kind of just like, I don't care what how anyone like feels,
No,
kind of thing?
I was like not intimidated at all. Like I was like very happy to like find people
Right.
that like music. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick though. Yeah, I think I can start wrapping it up here. This has been great, but I want to ask you, what would you say are some musical goals you have for yourself from now until the end of the year?
Till end of the year, I do want to get composition major.
Yeah.
The interview is coming up end of this month, and I want to hopefully like get into some like composition competitions, like
Right.
yeah, there's like a list on like the CMC website. Yeah.
Sick.
So like there's even like a TSO like score that you could like competition thing that you could like submit for like in the end of the summer.
Right.
So yeah, so like I'm like starting to work on like next year stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Sick though. I wish you the best of luck for that, man. You've been great today. Thank you so much for doing this with me, and I think I'll wrap it up. This has been another episode of the EJB Talk Show. This is with Anthony Gunadi. Follow him on Instagram. I'm gonna link his website down below too. Check him out. He's super sick. And yeah, anything else you wanna say before we end it off? No.
I don't know. Subscribe.
No, but yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much, man. And that's it from us. Thanks, guys.